get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mack? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They got me by the Dre cause I'm cold with the pen. I run no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a Dalu. The hardest part of my tongue, thinking is a warm blue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist, but you smell me. One spark, then I bet you I'ma blow up. Then throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. A rest is thinking in his man, but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, come me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I poured all the planks, you use the second kind. Straight rappers to retreat like Cobra. 80s they can throw they like. Up in the storage and I'm man. Up, down, down, man, I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beat in. Ninja Turtle rap, Turtle Clans who defeated. Hop in my ride, you can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me, cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket, my whole to the A. And I bet you can't stop us. LL bad, when I go and show up, you can hear the haters in the back. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie. Let me get in where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This is your man Dre Mack coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mack Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. And you're from the West Coast right now. Go ahead and get up, because you already know that the early bird gets the worm. And on today, we are going to go back into the detail because they dropped a video that I want to react to. Hollywood's version of Michael Jackson. And trust and believe, I went to go see Michael again last night by myself while a bunch of people was talking, and I kind of wanted to slap everybody who was talking in the theater, but I couldn't because, you know, then Michael would have been singing to me that I always want to be starting something. But they were talking, Mike. Understand, I was trying to eat my popcorn and smile like you were, but I couldn't because people were talking. So we are going to go over that today. So hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gant over at the Heavy Gant Reaction, which I already know how I do. The real question is,
are you say why you hating on my energy? Say why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's see who is all in the house today. Miss Roberta, the church auntie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tina, aka Minty Gasm. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I might just keep going in and out of focus. Junior Network. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Krisha Key, good morning, good morning, good morning. X-Men, Xavier Phoenix, good morning. Marley Marr, good morning, good morning. Sister Pam is up here. Hey, Sister Pam. Hey, lady. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Michael Johnson, good morning, good morning, good morning. Ivan Rodriguez, good morning, good morning, good morning. Vanessa Robinson, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wavy Things, good morning, good morning, good morning. I did see Dr. Umar's. He echoed a lot of stuff that was said by the late great Dick Gregory also. But I appreciate him, speaking on that. Here, what is up, Tiber J? What's going on, Chameleon? What's going on, lady? I haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to see your face up here. Well, I guess that was last week. I don't know, but it's good to see your face. So Detail uploaded this video, and I kind of wanted to do it last week. It was just so much stuff that was going on last week. That it was good. It was actually good. We were getting a lot of. I know it was last week. We were getting a lot of good stories and stuff like that coming out. And so I was kind of just trying to figure out like what to talk about and stuff, what to react to, kind of like what's the flavor. I've really been going with my algorithm. My algorithm has actually been, I guess because Michael is a hot thing right now. People can't get enough of Mike. This is the modern day Mike mania, Michael Jackson mania. So my algorithm is is really exploding when it comes to these Michael reactions or these conversations about Michael and stuff like that. So of course, I don't mind keeping this going. You know what I mean? I don't mind keeping this going because again, I love Michael Jackson. My favorite artist of all time, point blank period. I don't care. Michael's music makes me feel, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've had a better attitude. Real talk. I'm not joking. I had a better attitude since I started diving in Michael's music again than I had in previous days. So I don't mind diving right into more Michael Jackson stuff. And you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing right now and everything. So we're gonna get into this video. I haven't seen it, but I want you to put it in the comment section below. Put it in the comment section below. Which Michael is your favorite? The one that Hollywood created. Which one is your favorite? And really, I know it's going to come, it's going to come between Jafar and Wiley Draper. And while Jafar is most definitely family, and again, seeing it again at the movie theaters, because that was getting my money. That was getting my StubHub money or whatever, which goes into the box office. I bought a ticket. We're trying to get to that Billy, son. And actually, it was funny because me and another young lady, you know what I'm saying, who tried to take my seat, you know what I'm saying, we got assigned seats, lady, but wasn't nobody in there until I turned around. And then now it's just people coming in names talking. I was like, man, shut up. Even though I've watched this movie 3 times in the movie theaters, 80 times on bootleg, I'm still want to watch it. Michael's still getting my money. Y'all shut it up. You know what I'm saying? Please. Even the bootleg ain't talking. Shut up. So, I did kind of go on a tangent. But Jafar got, the manner. I think Jafar was underrated in his movements of basically how Michael moved. You know what I'm saying? The voice most definitely. But I was watching I was watching it again. I guess it's just different when you watch it on the big screen. You know, it was just certain movements that he did just had the fluidity of Michael. You know, so dancing and stuff, you know, I think Jafar got it down. There's something about Wiley Draper's eyes. It's something about his eyes. Now, I will say they barely made the brother smile in the movie, in the American Dream and stuff like that. And Michael had a beautiful smile. You know what I'm saying? All the Jacksons have he was a little stiff in Thriller. I will say that. He was a little stiff in Thriller. And based on what he said, when him and Antoine Fuqua was talking about that, it was cold. And he said it was chilly that night. So that's probably why he was stiff. You know what I'm saying? He was a little stiff. He wasn't stiff on Billie Jean. He damn sure wasn't stiff on Beat It. On Beat It, I was like, oh my God. Like, I think that's what hit it. SKNL, what's good? I think that's what hit it. You know what I'm saying? Even his performance of Human Nature, yeah. The bad performance, yeah. Wiley Draper just had it's something about his Wiley Draper's eyes. In RP to Wiley Draper, but it was something about his eyes. He had the sad eyes. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get into this. But put it in the comment section. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. What's up, the Black Bleach? He killed it on Billie Jean. And it was that move where he opens up his jacket and kind of kicks his leg. I did not know Michael actually did that in Motel 25 because it's a close-up. It's a close-up of that shot. And why do I keep feeling like y'all making me look like my camera's making me look AI? Do I need to pull up? I mean, I don't want all my forehead in the camera. Damn. Even I get tired of that. What's going on? I'm Robin Child. What's up? Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, he most definitely, that Billie Jean performance, he killed that. Again, Wiley Draper's performance on Billie Jean, even though he did good, glove was on the wrong hand, you know, it was more like he was imitating Michael, but his performance as Michael in certain instances, you know what I'm saying? He does give that, I don't know, he gives the sadness of Michael. The Flex Zone 1 was good. But yeah, but put in the comment section which one, because you know what I'm saying? I don't care about Jay-Z's dissing nobody right now. But for real. That's, you know, we talking about Mike. But put it in the comment section below. Which one between Jafar and Wiley Draper, which one do you like? Put it in the comment section below. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and shout out to crew member. It's June 1st, starting in the new month, man. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching, and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you know you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that have been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. All right. And again, if you want to be a part of the crew, all you got to do is hit that join button. $2.99 a month helps out the channel a lot. It allows me to do this every morning for you guys. Robin D and Erica D. Good morning. It's always good to see Robin in the house. You know what I'm saying? And most definitely Erica D in the house. Jace, what's good? Good morning. I'm ready to dive kind of into this now. I think this is a good topic because I think we talked about this on the Blurred AF one time about at which we're going to be. We are doing a Blurred AF tonight, so don't forget to tune in. I'm going to start at 8:00 Eastern time, 7:00 Central time. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys are tuned into the Blur because we gonna have some topics tonight. Oh, we're gonna have some topics, especially the conversation of DC So White. We're gonna talk about that and a person who is campaigning it and going against it. So we're gonna talk about that. Dirty Joker, what's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. So yeah, make sure that you tune in to Blurred AF because we gonna have a what do you call it, a wing dang good time. I don't know what he said on Centers, but it was something like that. Maybe it was. I don't know. But yeah. So I think this is a good topic. Now, we not talking about, I know they're gonna bring up Hollywood's version. I know Flex is gonna come up. You know, and I gotta feel bad for Flex. You know what I'm saying? I do feel bad for Flex, but I know he was getting. Man, he did it for a check. I ain't mad at him for doing it for the check, though. I'm not mad at him. I'm honestly not mad. You know, I mean, hell, I'll probably do it for the check. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Let me get a check. You know what I'm saying? Let me go. I'll be Michael. You know what I'm saying? If I was broke and I need to pay, you know what I'm saying? I need to get some bills paid. I don't care what y'all say. I'm playing Michael, but you know, other people I'm not even concerned about. Jafar and Wally is definitively, and I grew up on Wally too. I remember watching The American Dream when it debuted. I remember watching that, and God rest the soul of my Aunt Hazel, because that's the woman who helped raise me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get emotional, but that's one of our things we watched. You know what I'm saying? That was one of I will never forget watching that miniseries with her both nights. So that's a core memory for me. You know what I'm saying? So it holds a special place in my heart. With that being said, I've seen Michael way more than a lot of movies I've seen this year. So I would just say that. You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait for Michael to hit digital. And I don't think it's going to hit digital anytime soon. Anytime soon. So, what's up, Sheed? Look, I'll be Mike. You know what I'm saying? I'll be Mike. He said the Tebow version. Yeah, that's that. What's his name? Fabio. Man, I'm sick of it. I don't know. I don't want to be that person, but I not like that dude's face. I'm sick of him. Michael Trapston doesn't do all the mess that this dude does. Good Lord, have mercy. I can't stand that dude. Draven, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I'm not gonna butcher that name, but good morning. Is it Rico MJ? Ain't that the dude who be sliding? That's the sliding MJ. Michael Trapson is super funny, but I can't stand Fabio. I can't stand Fabio Jackson. I can't stand him. Ugh. Michael Trapson is I just seen you know what's dope? They're doing that tribute. He's a tribute artist and stuff like that. He goes into, with his friends to do a tribute to Michael Jackson. They basically do the victory tour. I think that's dope. I think that's dope. I think it will, because it's coming back to IMAX. And so this week, on the 3rd, shout out to Christian King, I'm going to go see Masters of the Universe, right? So I see Masters of the Universe on the 3rd. My movie starts at 7. Before that movie starts, I'm going to go buy more tickets to Michael. I want us to, and it ain't for everybody, but I want the people who would like to either donate tickets or just, you know what I'm saying, or go to the movies that day if you can, and go for Michael, because they trying to drop that documentary, about the allegations in the store. Who do you believe, the jury? You know what I'm saying? Or you believe he's guilty or innocent. Why? When 14 counts said he was innocent. So to put some money back in the, in the Michael movie's pocket, I'm going to go buy another movie. I might see a couple that, or see some people, what movie y'all going to go see? Y'all going to go see Michael? Here, movie on me. That's how generous I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying for that. And then also, while I'm feeling generous, don't forget my man Marley Mart is in here. He got a Kickstarter that's going on right now for a future project. So make sure you guys are checking out what Marley Mart is doing. You know what I'm saying? And support what he got. The collaboration in the film that he has going on right now. So check it out. All right. Let me just transition over. You already know what I got to do. There is some buttery biscuit activity going on, and of course I gotta bake me some wonderful biscuits. So I want you guys do not go nowhere. I'll be right back for more of the Dre Max Show.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment.
Them biscuits I smell, Mom.
That's my Hungry Jack.
Tommy takes one of them. Them my mama biscuits. Them my mama biscuits.
Switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does a 10-pound bag of flour make a really big biscuit?
Transition over real quick. Okay, hold on. Lord have mercy. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. This mug is acting stupid now. It is acting stupid. Where's my... There we go. And Robert Shaw, so I watched the one where the bodyguard is talking about the day Michael died. I did watch that. And how Conrad Murray, he had the when they came up with the publisher, he had the same agent as the bodyguard. And he wasn't really the bodyguard, he was really training in martial arts. Michael in martial arts. But yeah, it's been some good stuff. I do need to make some more. The problem I've been having, brother, I have been working the last 18 of the last 21 days at my job, and that is 11-hour shifts plus. So I've been tired, but I got some in the thing. Yesterday was the first time I got to be free. So I went and got me some smoked jerk wings. You know what I'm saying? Chill by myself while people that was working at the establishment kept asking me, am I okay? Yes, you see me by myself. I'm all right. Leave me alone. Unless you coming out and sit with me and having a conversation about Godzilla or something, leave me alone. Trade my wings. And then I went to Michael. And I finally put my clothes up because I got to clean my room. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? So I needed some freedom. But I'm not working today. And I got some time. So I do need to make some more. But trust me, they're loaded. You know what I'm saying? All I gotta do is put them together. It's just you know what I'm saying? YouTube don't pay the bills. I'm just saying. YouTube don't pay the bills. So I gotta do what I gotta do. This is what I do because I got my favorite YouTuber. He tasting the biscuits too. Trust me and D Sizzle been having this sitting for a while, cooking, marinating, buttery biscuit bacon. right now. So my favorite YouTuber got one too. Trust me. What up, Inez? Yeah, we don't really talk about that, but he does kind of go hard on it. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Chad Flicks? And trust me, I'll remember it too. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. Oh, let me check. Oh, well, I need the video up to be able to do it. But and I might throw some I gotta throw some more different video some more different type of commercials in there from the I gotta throw the 90s and 2000 commercials in there. You know what I'm saying? So I got some ideas. I got some. What's going on, Kelly? Is it Nicholson? What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let's go ahead. Let me share my screen real quick. This is going to be a little long because they're comparing Hollywood's versions. What am I doing? What am I doing? What is going on here? I am tripping. But no, they're comparing Hollywood's versions of Michael Jackson. And the closest facial, and let's just be honest, there's not a lot of people that's walking around with a Jackson face that's not a Jackson. So when people say, well, Jafar doesn't really look like him and stuff like that, Jafar is the it's like I said, there's just certain head turns and stuff like that, and it's just in his DNA. You know what I'm saying? It's in his DNA that you'll turn around, it favors Michael. You know what I'm saying? In certain eras of Michael's life. It's not going to be everything. I don't think I used to say he looked like Jermaine. He doesn't really look like Jermaine at all. I mean, Jafar has his own face. I think it was Wally Draper's. I think it was just the emotion that he brought to it. You know what I'm saying? To that role, because it was more used. Let's be honest. The American Dream ain't perfect either. That's not a perfect movie. That's not the definitive, everything, you know what I'm saying, was right in American Dream either. Because I do got another video that I stumbled upon that breaks down the American Dream. I do want to do a reaction there. Even though I've seen it initially, I want to do a reaction video to some of the things that I did not know that should have been clarified a little more. You know what I'm saying? Just a little commentary to it. But you know what I'm saying? It was like almost a loneliness or the sadness of Michael, the not being able to grow up because, he had acne and stuff like that. He played that very well. Did we get any smiling and stuff like that? I mean, even when he was talking to Barry, he wasn't smiling. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't himself. It was just like, I want a solo. If I do it, I want a solo. And then it kicks into Motown 25. And they had the rights to everybody in that movie. Everybody. Randy, Jackie, Jermaine, Tito, Michael, Marlon, Reby, Janet, LaToya, everybody. Everybody. Yet they still didn't do the performance of the Jacksons in Motown 25. They didn't break down the Victory Tour in the drama with the Victory Tour either. You know what I'm saying? They made it, where, hey, there was just a coming together of the people, of the family. And that's not the way that went down. They couldn't stand each other towards the end of that Victory Tour. So, Jermaine was a producer. Yes, he was. And he made himself look really good. You know what I'm saying? In that movie. Let's be honest. Because he was trying to make it seem like he was just so torn to leave Motown. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wanted to be under the ship because he wanted to be a star. Stop it, Jermaine. You know what I mean? His wife was like, you ain't going nowhere. He was like, nah, I ain't. Right. He was under Papa Gordy. You know what I'm saying? So let's stop playing. But anyway, I'm rambling and I want to do that video. So enough of me talking, because this is about 37 minutes long. So let's get to it. comparing Hollywood's many versions of Michael Jackson. He was Triple H. He was. That is hilarious. Man, Inez, you came in here. That was a good one. Yeah, Motown 25, I think, should be a movie within itself. Where is We Are the World, though? But probably they didn't have a rights to everybody, so.
It's a feat rarely attempted in Hollywood, trying to tell the story of Michael Jackson, a life so extensively documented, yet a man still so deeply misunderstood. His story was simply too expansive, and his image constantly evolving, both physically and culturally. Because Michael Jackson was never just a celebrity, he was a constantly shifting cultural figure, child star, musical genius, global phenomenon, tabloid obsession, accused criminal, tragic recluse, nostalgia icon, and now, once again, a pop culture event for an entirely new generation. But what's fascinating is that every time Michael Jackson's life has been portrayed on screen, it has revealed just as much about the era in which it was made as it does about Michael Jackson himself.
If you see Jafar's mama, he favors his mother, which is still kind of, I'm not going to lie, I can see why Randy, what's going on, Abundance? I can see why Randy didn't want to be a part of this. And if you know, you know. But he looks like the man's mama. I mean, look like his mama. But if you know the story, you know. Well, he was like, y'all got it. I'm going to just, I'm going to just be over here.
From the family-approved nostalgia of the Jacksons, An American Dream,
it won't be another
in
one.
1992, to the scandal-driven collapse depicted in Man in the Mirror during Michael Jackson's criminal trial,
just
to the sympathetic isolation of Searching for Neverland following his death, and finally to the enormous estate-backed spectacle of 2026's Michael.
Hold on.
Each project.
Has anyone ever seen that Searching for Neverland? And if you have watched it, is it good? Does it portray Michael in a light? Yeah, that's his nephew's. Yeah. I mean, his cousins are his brothers and sisters. Yes. Jafar's mother was married to Randy. And then Jermaine married her and had Your Majesty and Jafar. And when I tell you, I was watching this clip. I think it's on X. I think I watched it on X. Now, all those who try to inbox me on X, I can't get into my X because now it has some kind of passcode and stuff like that. Just inbox me on Instagram because I'm so sick of X. You know what I mean? I pay all this money for just foolishness. But yeah. You said you didn't, somebody said they didn't like it. Oh, yes, Kelly, you said, yes, I seen it. I didn't like it. Yeah. I just wanted to know if anybody watched it because I didn't know if I wanted to see it. But anyway. Yeah. But there's this, I guess it was a promo for a Jackson, another Jackson reality show. So the Jafar comes in and he starts singing a Justin Timberlake song, getting all the kids, and including their mother, comes in, and they're talking about, the death of Michael and how everything has been hard, over at Havenhurst and all of that. He still looks like a Jackson BD, but if you see his mom, you'll be like, oh, I can see where he has a lot of his features from his mom. You know what I'm saying? Still has the Jackson smile. But in his sister, which I think his sister is Randy's daughter, looked just like Catherine. Oh, it's almost scary because she looked just like her grandma. But there's one kid that's not Randy Jr. that looks just like Randy Jackson. I'm talking about a light-skinned splitting image of Randy. Oh my goodness, it was scary. So I can see why.
reflects a completely different version of who Michael Jackson was in the public imagination at that exact moment in history. Some tried to protect his image. Others attempted to profit from his downfall. Some were shaped directly by the Jackson family and estate, while others were made entirely without their consent. Some wanted to celebrate Michael Jackson. Others wanted audiences to understand him. And a couple simply wanted you to stare at the spectacle. Because Michael Jackson's story has become something larger than biography. It has become mythology, constantly rewritten depending on the fears, fascinations, controversies, and cultural conversations of the time.
Yes, they are.
And nowhere is that
Yes,
more
Eric
obvious
D.
than with the recent release and extraordinary success of Michael. Audiences packed cinemas. Younger generations discovered Michael Jackson's music through social media. And streaming numbers surged to some of the highest levels of his entire career.
I mean, I know people talk stuff about the estate, you know what I'm saying? But it's Michael's money. So for what I understand, at Prince and Paris, Prince Paris and Blanket at a certain age is going to get a lot of money from the estate, a lot of money from his will. So, but right now they're good. That's generational. This man created generational wealth for his family. I don't care what nobody says. That's dope within itself, but I want to see these different portrayals of Michael, man. So let's keep going.
More than 16 years after his death, Michael Jackson once again became one of the biggest cultural talking points in the world. So in this video, we're going to explore every major Michael Jackson biopic ever made. Not just how accurate they were, but who was controlling the narrative behind them and what each one reveals about Michael Jackson's constantly changing public image across more than 3 decades.
Yeah, he
Here's
did
the
do
detail.
it dirty. Okay, before we answer that question, which biopic that you've watched that you think portrayed Michael in the best light? Put it in the comment section or put it in the chat right now. Which biopic do you think did the best job encompassing who Michael Jackson was? This one is hard because for me, because I've only seen the 2, American Dream and Michael. And for me, Michael created the essence of like that smile, the childlike wonder, you know what I'm saying? The hope, the dream, the ambition, and people knocked the scene where he's watching television and talking about gang members. Oh my God. I don't think that was like, why are you knocking that? Like, oh, he had the inspiration for Beat It for that. No, it's a culmination of what he's seen, because later on in life, he talks about the injustices. Do you think he was just talking about injustices right then and there when he made They Don't Care About Us? Or did he already seen these are patterns of behavior? Why would he make a short film like Beat It, get real gang members, and not know what the culture of the world was speaking of at that time? And to have that meeting happened, probably not happen the way that it's romanticized in Michael, but a meeting happened where you had gang members, Bloods, Crips, essays, all of that. And you think Michael wasn't a part of the culture? Didn't think about that? Come on, dog. You ain't having real gang members pop up and you ain't really a part of the culture, or you don't know what's going on or what's happening.
The first major attempt to dramatize the life story of superstar pop icon Michael Jackson came with the release of The Jacksons, An American Dream, a 5-hour ABC miniseries broadcast across 2 nights in November 1992. The series traced the Jackson family's rise from Catherine and Joseph Jackson's early relationship and the children's upbringing in Gary, Indiana, through the explosive success of the Jackson 5, the Motown years, the move to Epic Records, Michael Jackson's emergence as a global solo superstar, the Pepsi accident, Motown 25, and ultimately, the family reuniting for the Victory Tour.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was one of the most ambitious television portrayals of a music family ever attempted.
That is facts. That is very much facts. They all look super young. It's almost like Randy became older like overnight from this black and white picture, him and Tito, to where they were once the Jackson 5, became the official Jackson 5, a part of Motown. Just like that 2 or 3 year jump aged Jackie completely up, because he always looked like a grown man, even though he was like 18. I forgot what the drummer's name was. That was a part of the original group. I will say this. American Dream did my man Michael wrong with the way they portrayed the Pepsi incident. They had my man rolling down like a whole log. Y'all remember that Blurred AF where I kept rolling it back, rolling that Beautiful Beam footage? They kept rolling that. Don't be surprised if that's in the next commercial that I do. I'm just saying, they did him wrong for that. My man ain't rolling down those steps like that. They did it, corrected Michael. But this is the only, for both of these, I would say I knocked it because, they didn't show the variety errors. And you know what I'm saying? Literally how busy they were. That's why I always said that Michael, they should have montage of Michael working. You know what I'm saying? The variety show. They didn't even have to show Janet on the variety show, LaToya or Rebe. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of stuff with him and Marlon by himself would have been awesome to see. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's just him constantly working. I think they missed the opportunity in both of those to see. We could have just had montages of that until you got to 1978, where he's like, I'm not a kid anymore, Q. So that's my personal opinion.
What was extraordinary was the level of involvement and cooperation from the Jackson family itself. The miniseries was based primarily on Katherine Jackson's autobiography, My Family,
he has some
while Jermaine Jackson served as one of the project's producers. Crucially, legendary Motown executive Suzanne DePass, who had played a genuine role in the Jackson 5's rise during the Motown years, was heavily involved in the production, giving the series an added sense of authenticity and insider credibility. For arguably the first time on such a large scale, the Jackson family had the opportunity to tell their own story in their own words, with access to the music, imagery, performances, and emotional beats that outsiders simply could not authentically recreate. Rather than relying entirely on tabloid mythology or media speculation, the series presented a version of the Jackson story shaped by the people who had actually lived it. Although Michael Jackson himself was not formally credited as a producer or writer on the project, he was still involved behind the scenes and reportedly approved certain aspects of the production, including casting decisions and key scenes depicting his life. Michael is said to have personally approved.
I was mad, completely mad at how much makeup they put on Wiley Draper's face. Wiley looked like Michael if he was turned into a vampire for real. But yeah, I will still say Angela Bassett is the best Catherine. That's just because it tells her and Joseph's story. You know what I'm saying? It tells her and Joseph's story. I love Angela Bassett as Mother Catherine. I do. I love it. That's my personal opinion. Oh yeah, absolutely, Jace. Absolutely. And Jason Weaver did do a great job as young Michael. And let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck. I've been wanting to say this for a minute. This is going to be highly controversial in some circles, but Michael Jackson was bad as hell as a kid. Some of them ass whoopings he deserved. I'm sorry, Miss Roberta, but some of them whoopings he got, he was bad as a kid. And they perfectly showed him running away from Joe in the American Dream. He talked back. He was bad. He couldn't sit still. I know somebody said that Michael was probably I think it was in in the one video I watched, it was probably like he was probably ADHD. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it wasn't diagnosed back then. But I believe he probably was ADHD because he could not sit still. But I think he was bad. I'm sorry. That's probably why he had an album called Bad, because he was looking at his child like, man, that was bad.
Proved Angela Bassett's casting as Katherine Jackson,
I think he deserved
while
a
also
couple of
supporting
those.
elements of the portrayal of his younger self. That involvement matters because Michael Jackson had become so distant from the public that almost every public image of him was increasingly filtered through sensationalism, parody, or speculation.
Facts.
Michael Jackson's commitment to maintaining an air of mystique, coupled with his reluctance to publicly explain himself, allowed his story to be increasingly manipulated through sensationalism and speculation by a tabloid press often driven by its own dubious intentions.
Prince.
An American Dream offered something very different. A rare attempt to contextualize Michael Jackson as a human being living within the world of extreme fame that had shaped much of his existence.
I love his wig.
By
His wig was on
1992,
point.
the Jackson family occupied a strange and increasingly fractured place in popular culture.
Brady is so cute.
Michael Jackson was still technically the biggest entertainer in the world, following the recent release of Dangerous and him embarking on its accompanying world tour.
Yes, he was.
While sister Janet had in her own right also become one of the highest paid
Yes, she
and
was.
most successful female artists on the planet.
Yes, she was.
Yet despite their extraordinary
And-
success, public
Are y'all ready for a Janet biopic? Because there's some elements of Janet I gotta know. You know what I'm saying? Especially when she was married to what's his name? DeBarge. Was it the older brother when she was 18? Yeah, I gotta it's God, I forgot that. But I want to see something about her experience. You know what I'm saying? Especially dealing with her weight. You know what I'm saying? Being in a shadow of a Jackson, of Michael Jackson. Everybody comparing her to her brother. Her actually just forming her own thing. You know what I mean? I want to see that personally. I call it Rhythm Nation. You know what I'm saying? I would. They sure was. Them kids, look, Prince was wearing that man's wig out. The man was about to pull that wig right off his head because it was wearing him out.
Perception of the family had shifted dramatically from the warmth and
James DeBarge, I
relatability
couldn't think of his
associated
name.
with the Jackson 5 years. For over a decade, Michael Jackson had rarely given interviews, and his increasingly changing physical appearance and growing isolation had turned him into an object of endless tabloid fascination and speculation. Stories surrounding cosmetic surgery, skin color changes, eccentric behavior, and emotional instability increasingly dominated coverage of Michael, often overshadowing his chart-topping musical feats. At the same time, the Jackson family image was becoming increasingly associated with dysfunction
Control too.
and division.
I like that.
LaToya Jackson had publicly broken away from the family,
What's going on, Dan?
posed for Playboy,
Good morning.
and was making allegations of physical and sexual abuse against her father,
That
reigniting
was
public
wild.
scrutiny surrounding the family's moral standing.
Right.
Ironically,
Which that was wild anyway. And like I said, they got a whole breakdown of LaToya Jackson. That is heartbreaking. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's heartbreaking because I didn't know that her ex-husband was doing all of that, forcing her to say certain things for money, forcing her to do Playboy, all of that stuff for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was wild. It was wild, and it's sad. It's sad.
an American Dream producer Jermaine Jackson had himself contributed to the family's deteriorating
I
image
don't know.
the previous year.
Hold on,
by
that's a good
public-
question. He wasn't the first, but the way, but I'm this is to me. This is just to me. When he bought the Beatles catalog, he bought ATV, and then Once he bought ATV, which has the Beatles catalog and a bunch of other stuff, he started buying publishing, and he became powerful. Not rich, powerful. Because now he has the rights to give, artists back their masters, all of that stuff. Power, real power. That's when the tabloids really start to, and I always they love in the UK, they love the Beatles. That's where they come from. And that was the first, to me, tabloids, and I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying, to attack them the way they did. To me, it was the UK tabloids. That was the hardest, and to me, the first that really went, all this dude is crazy. He's the wacko jacko, all of that. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So, yeah. And the words of the bad is actually a wild song. That's a wild. A diss track to your own brother. I think that's he's the first guy in history, the first artist in history to make a diss song to his own brother. Exactly, Jace. But again, when I was watching interviews, watching those Paul McCartney interviews, he wasn't expecting Michael Jackson to do it. Just like Van Halen. Was it Eddie Van Halen when he played on Beat It? He was like, "Oh, I'm just doing this on this Black Kids record." He wasn't expecting that. They wasn't expecting Michael to be what he is, or what he was destined to be. They wasn't. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't thinking like that. They was thinking, "Man, I could tell him he don't. They don't know no better. He might get an album or two. He ain't gonna get mine." And then him and Branca made that deal. And then all of a sudden now it's beef. But you told me it was good business. I'm just doing good business. That's what happens.
Criticizing Michael on the supposedly leaked diss track Word to the Bad. In the song, Jermaine accused his brother of turning his back on reality, his family, and even his race, further exposing the growing tensions and fractures within the Jackson family itself.
I wonder if that's going to be in Michael too.
By 1992, the Jacksons were no longer universally viewed as the aspirational musical family America had embraced during the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Increasingly, they were perceived as fractured, controlling, emotionally damaged, out of touch, and consumed by fame. In that context, the Jacksons, An American Dream, feels less like simple entertainment and more like a carefully timed attempt to reclaim and humanize the Jackson family story. The miniseries deliberately returns audiences to Gary, Indiana, to the cramped house, the three-tiered bunk beds, the rehearsals, the poverty, the family struggle, and the innocence of the children before global fame transformed them forever.
Definitely. I'm sorry, Michael.
It reframed.
Michael was bad. That's why he had an album called Bad, because he was bad. That little kid was, man, bringing rats and all of that to the house, run around here. Boy, get my belt. Michael, get him. No, Joseph. Still one of the funniest parts of that whole miniseries. When he's under the bed, he was like, no. That little boy was bad. Woo. But, yeah, The Velvet Rope, fire. Fire album. And yes, there is confirmation of part 2. They're actually in production on that right now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I got all you guys and stuff. Okay, yeah, let's keep going.
The Jacksons not as untouchable superstars, but as a hardworking Black American family whose extraordinary success came through discipline, sacrifice, talent, and perseverance. Even the title itself, An American Dream, feels deliberate, positioning the family as relatable symbols of ambition and survival, rather than the bizarre tabloid caricatures
there goes
they were
Jermaine
increasingly
Jackson
becoming
Jr.
in the public imagination.
Facts.
The Jacksons, An American Dream, turned out to be not just a major television event, but a genuine ratings phenomenon. Across its 2-night broadcast, the miniseries became one of the most successful music biography dramas of the decade, with its second half watched by over 38 million viewers and ranking as the highest-rated program of its week. The awards response was strong, too. The series received 4 Emmy nominations, with Michael Peters winning the Emmy for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Choreography. an American Dream capitalized during the beginning of a wider nostalgia wave surrounding the earlier Jackson's era. Mariah Carey had just taken I'll Be There back to #1 earlier in the year, while hip-hop and R&B artists increasingly sampled Jackson 5 records throughout the early 1990s. Jackson's projects like 1989's 2300 Jackson Street had already attempted to reconnect the family to that legacy commercially. But An American Dream succeeded where other projects struggled, because it rebuilt emotional attachment through storytelling. However, critically, the response was more mixed. The performances were the main thing reviewers praised, especially Angela Bassett as Catherine Jackson and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs as Joseph Jackson.
Now, he used to date LaToya back in the day. Who was your favorite Joe Jackson? American Dream or Michael? Put it in the comment section. I will say the American Dream version I like a little better. Coleman Domingo's faces had me rolling, but if overall portrayal though, but I will say they made him more. I think Joe was complicated, but I don't think he was like the worst dad on the face of the planet. He was not a good husband. Let's just be real. He's a terrible husband. You know what I'm saying? Because he was out here cheating left and right on Catherine, out here making outside kids and all of that. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But I think the American Dream version is a little bit better for sure. But y'all put it in the comment section. You know which one you think. I told you what to think. Now, Michael, you think you can step up to me, huh?
Bassett in particular seemed to give the series emotional weight,
yes,
helping
they did.
Catherine become the moral center of the story.
I don't want
rather
you
than
no
just
more,
a
Joe.
background
I
figure.
don't want you no more.
Criticism for the miniseries was not that it was poorly made. Rather, it was that it was carefully controlled. Variety described it as somewhat bland, especially in the first part, but still called it, quote, a commendable effort at approximating the truth. Entertainment Weekly was more critical, giving it a C+ and arguing that the series bent the Jackson story into the shape of a celebratory TV biopic.
Doesn't that sound familiar?
Credit, the production did attempt to explore some.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Didn't that say this is what Michael did? Oh, it's just a celebratory movie. There's no way. What about this? And what about that? And it doesn't hit this. It doesn't hit the emotional beats. And I was like, there is a couple things that I would like to see, which I did on my non-spoiler review about Michael that I wish they would have put in here. But other than that, it should be a celebration. Man, the man's dead. You know what I'm saying? Now, they didn't say that about Elvis. They didn't say that about Bohemian Rhapsody when it came to Freddie Mercury. Now, all of a sudden, it's a problem. Get out of here. Get.
Of the darker aspects of the Jackson family story, particularly the long reported accounts of abuse at the hands of patriarch Joseph Jackson. It explored the tension, pressure, and emotional pain within the family, but always within the relatively safe boundaries of a network television framework. The series confronted Joe's cruelty, Michael's loneliness, and the emotional cost of fame.
You know what? I will say this after rewatching this movie again in the big screen. If you really think about this movie, and I'm really being honest with you, if you think about Michael and even American Dream, but particularly Michael is only seen when he's either making music with another human being. I'm saying this for a reason. With another human being, with his sister, with Bill, or when he's in the studio making an album. His other moments where he, wants to be playful and stuff like that, he's by himself. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like he just learned to just be by himself. Just happy. He's playing Twister with Bubbles. And yeah, that's played up for laughs. But if you look at it in a deeper tone, that's the only person that's giving him some type of joy. Is his pet chimp. think about it's again. I think the movie is more clever than what people was giving it for, because they're showing loneliness, but they're showing you the mass of they're showing you a different way what loneliness looks like. Now let me explain that. You can be lonely, don't have nobody else around you, and try to make best of what life is. You don't have to sit around and mope. You're also at a point where you're kind of masking that pain. So you try to redirect that pain of loneliness and stuff like that into other things. That's why young Michael was like, I want a llama. You know what I'm saying? Young Michael was like, I'd rather have animals because they'd be my friends. You see what I mean? Because he already explained, people, all they do is stare at me and all of this other stuff, which again, they should have went into a montage. You know what I'm saying? So when you see Michael and Michael's kicking it by himself with Bubbles and Muscles, or he's just sitting around with LaToya, factually, that's correct. Of course, they omitted the girlfriends and stuff like that was there, but that's true. He was legitimately lonely, but in a way that loneliness is not necessarily portrayed in Hollywood. Think about it like that. I'm gonna let this segment go for a little bit. Hold on.
Yet it stopped short of fully interrogating the family's deeper dysfunctions or the more uncomfortable contradictions surrounding them.
He's not smiling through anything.
Perhaps the clearest example of this comes in the miniseries ending.
Yeah.
The story concludes with the victory tour presented as an emotional family reunion and triumphant celebration
in
of
Kansas
the Jackson
City,
legacy,
too.
with little suggestion of the explosive tensions, internal power struggles, and lasting resentment the tour ultimately created between Michael and the rest of the family. By ending at the self-constructed emotional high point, the series avoids confronting the darker final years that had already begun to emerge publicly by 1992. The controversies, the public feuding, Michael Jackson's dramatically changing appearance,
nobody
and his
roll
growing
either.
isolation,
I can't get none
and
of it.
detachment from the family structure itself. The result was a production that was emotional, polished, and often genuinely powerful, but also highly selective in what it chose to show. It revealed the pain behind the success, though only within the limits of what the Jackson family themselves were prepared to present publicly.
It's funny because there's a little short clip that talks about Michael Jackson really being scared to get on planes.
That tension is part of what makes the Jacksons, an American dream, so fascinating today. It exists simultaneously as both a revealing portrait of the family and a carefully managed act of image making during this crucial period in their history.
All right, Reevy's so cute. Anyway, I'm gonna just stop it right here. I'm gonna go to a quick commercial break, but do not go anywhere because you already know we got business debate, and I'll be right back with more. Other Dre Max Show. Don't go nowhere. Don't leave.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Now you can own one of the greatest gospel albums ever on the road, with only giant hits and legendary stars.
Biscuit. I know the truth about it. I love. Oh, how I love this biscuit. Oh, how I love this biscuit. It is the best biscuit I know.
This treasury is not sold in stores, and when you call the toll-free number now, you also get another entire album of all-time gospel favorites.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. I will say this. If you actually watch American Dream and you watch Michael, but you start Michael from that 78 on up, that's your complete movie right there. Sounds weird, but I watched the American Dream and then I went to go watch Michael like that same day, the first time I went to go see it. It flows is all I'm saying. There's a good flow on that. You know what I'm saying? But I wish it was combined in the movie.
Man in the Mirror. The Michael Jackson story arrived in 2004 as the next major dramatized attempt to tell Michael Jackson's life story on television.
This is
produced for VH1,
Flex.
Directed by Alan Moyle, written by Claudia Salter, and starring Flex Alexander as Michael Jackson. The film aired on August 6th, 2004, just months before Jackson was due to stand trial on child molestation charges in early 2005. It functioned almost like an unofficial continuation of The Jacksons, An American Dream, where An American Dream ended around the Victory Tour era, presenting the Jackson family at a carefully constructed emotional high point. Man in the Mirror picked up the story in the aftermath, focusing on the solo superstardom, isolation, plastic surgery, Neverland, marriages, children, allegations, and public downfall that the earlier miniseries had avoided. But unlike An American Dream, this was not a family-approved production. It had no meaningful involvement from Michael Jackson or the Jackson family. And because it was unauthorized, it also lacked one of the most essential ingredients in any Michael Jackson story.
The music.
The music. None of Jackson's original songs were used in the film, which immediately made the project feel strangely hollow.
I'm sorry. I can't see Flex being Michael Jackson, especially the dance moves and all of that. It's not. It's not. What is this? This is terrible.
The timing of the film was also crucial. Since the early 2000s, Michael Jackson had once again become one of the most talked about figures on television.
I don't like it.
But largely for reasons outside his music. Bizarre public antics, dramatic fallouts with his record label, dangerously erratic behavior.
Hold up. Now, I'm not excusing what he did to Blanket that night, but let's not forget. Michael was the first one to wear a mask before the pandemic. Now everybody had to wear. Y'all remember the pandemic? Y'all remember masking up, going to Walmart and Target? Michael did it first.
Rumors of financial ruin and his disheveled appearance further fueled speculation of an addiction to plastic surgery, led many to question what exactly happened to a figure who was once one of the richest, most successful, and most celebrated icons in popular music, only to fall so dramatically from grace as his personal struggles played out in the headlines in full view of the world. The Martin Bashir documentary Living with Michael Jackson aired in 2003 and became a huge ratings event, drawing massive audiences in both the UK and the US, while also reigniting public scrutiny over Jackson's relationship with children, his parenting, his appearance, and his life at Neverland.
Now, look, can I just say something? Michael Jackson had his hair burned to the nerves, right? Nerve damage. And it's said his hair would never grow back where it was burned at that day for the Pepsi commercial. Now, Snoop Dogg was wearing a perm. You know what I'm saying? DJ Quick was wearing a perm. The day Michael go get a perm, now y'all mad. What you thought he was going to do? Go get a wig fade or something? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't wearing no wig afro. You know what I mean? Let that man wear short perms and stuff like that. Hey, come on. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't going to go back and keep a curl for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? He had to evolve. He went and got a perm, and people was hating on him. You know what I'm saying? Have the slick back perm. You know what I'm saying? It was hating on him. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Jackson's rebuttal special, the footage you were never meant to see, also drew major interest, proving that Michael Jackson remained a huge television draw even when the coverage was sensational or damaging.
He went all the way to Africa.
Feels less like a carefully considered biographical drama and more like an attempt to capitalize on the public fascination surrounding Jackson at one of the lowest and most vulnerable points of his life.
Facts.
By August 2004, Jackson was not simply a famous entertainer with a controversial public image. He was a man awaiting a criminal trial that, if it had ended in conviction, could have permanently defined the second and final chapter of his life.
Facts.
The film tries to humanize him by portraying him as damaged, lonely, childlike, misunderstood, and shaped by trauma. But the problem is that it often reduces Michael to a one-dimensional figure. Naive, emotionally stunted, easily manipulated, and almost foolish in his inability to understand how the world sees him. Rather than capturing the contradiction of Michael Jackson, the genius, the strategist, the businessman, the perfectionist, the showman, and the deeply wounded man, it leans heavily into the familiar tabloid version of him. The plastic surgery, the oxygen chamber style mythology, Neverland, Elizabeth Taylor, Lisa Marie Presley, the children, the masks, the allegations, and the sense of a superstar losing touch with reality. That was also the core.
That's actually horrific. And yes, he does look like Cesar Romero when he played the Joker in the 1960s with that makeup all. But yes, he should have never did. Martin Bashir had to come back and apologize. But the damage is done. You can apologize, but when the damage is already done, you know, and then what Oprah did, I don't think at the time it was a bad idea because who Oprah was at the time. But when she took advantage of him, yeah, there's a place that she can go. They'll be real nice and warm for what she did to him. That was scandalous.
Of much of the criticism. Reviewers did not simply object to the fact that the film was critical of Jackson. They objected to how thin, cheap, and exploitative it felt. The Seattle Post-Intelligencer described the film as a tastelessly timed work trying to draw sympathy from Jackson's situation, while Pop Matters noted that VH1 aired it as part of a wider Michael Jackson programming package that also included an American Dream and Bashir's documentary. Flex Alexander's performance also became one of the most criticized parts of the film.
Fact.
The issue was not only that he looked nothing like Michael Jackson, but that the makeup, voice, movement, and overall characterization often pushed the portrayal close to caricature. Instead of feeling like a credible depiction, it often felt like someone impersonating the tabloid idea of who Michael Jackson was.
Facts.
Even sympathetic viewers often found it distracting, because Michael's face, voice, and physicality were so specific that a weak imitation immediately broke the illusion. The film's reception was overwhelmingly poor. Rotten Tomatoes currently lists it with a very low audience response. Also compared with the huge cultural footprint of An American Dream and the massive audiences for the Bashir-era special, Man in the Mirror clearly failed to become a respected or defining Michael Jackson screen portrayal. Perhaps the clearest indication of how disconnected Man in the Mirror was from the real Jackson family came in Michael Jackson's own response to the film. Shortly after the VH1 biopic aired, Michael Jackson released a strongly worded statement condemning the portrayal and accusing the media more broadly of continuously humiliating and misrepresenting both him and his family.
Facts.
Because of the restrictive gag order surrounding his upcoming 2005 criminal trial, Jackson had to seek permission from Judge Rodney Melville before publicly commenting at all, which makes the statement even more notable. Rather than addressing the legal case directly, Michael instead focused on what he saw as years of media distortion and sensationalism surrounding his image. In the statement, Jackson argued that despite his family dedicating their lives to spreading unity and peace to the world through music, the public depiction of the Jacksons had become increasingly hostile and detached from reality. He specifically criticized the biopic by saying, quote, "Man in the Mirror, in no way, shape, or form, represents who we are as a family." He also condemned the broader media treatment he had endured throughout the previous 2 decades, referencing the endless tabloid caricatures and mocking labels attached to him, including
That's when he
Wacko
went off.
Jacko.
He went off.
What is interesting about Michael's response is that it reveals exactly why the film failed to resonate in the same way An American Dream had.
Figure.
An American Dream may have been selective and carefully controlled, but it still felt emotionally authentic because the family themselves were shaping the narrative. Man in the Mirror, by contrast, often feels like an outsider, attempting to reconstruct Michael Jackson purely through the lens of scandal-era media coverage. Without Michael's music, his creative input, or the emotional grounding provided by the family perspective, Man in the Mirror became, in Michael's eyes, Yet another example of the entertainment industry profiting from a distorted public fascination with his downfall, rather than attempting to understand the complexities of his life and the real human being living in between the sensationalized headlines. Searching for Neverland premiered in 2017 as the third major dramatized portrayal of Michael Jackson's life.
Now, you know, if anybody else has seen this, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I've never watched this, so for the first time, I'm looking at this with fresh eyes. Let's go. Matter of fact, yeah, thumbs up.
But unlike both the Jacksons,
Make
An
sure you go
American
follow the
Dream,
detail.
and Man in the Mirror, this film arrived in a completely different cultural climate. Produced nearly 8 years after Michael Jackson's untimely death, the project emerged during a period in which public perception of Jackson had shifted dramatically once again. Following his passing in 2009, Michael Jackson experienced one of the most extraordinary posthumous career resurgences in modern entertainment history.
Facts.
His music returned to the top of charts worldwide. Documentaries and tribute specials dominated television. This Is It became a massive box office success.
Facts.
And a younger generation rediscovered him less as the controversial figure of the 2000s and more as a tragic, isolated genius consumed by fame.
Doesn't this sound familiar again? This sounds familiar again, and this is why that Netflix documentary is not a coincidence. They're trying to capitalize on this man's fame and try to defame him again, because again, why do they keep going after black entertainers like this? If Bill Cosby passed away today, knock on wood, but Bill is old, just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Then a resurgence of the Cosby Show, Fat Albert, all, you know what I'm saying? I Spy, all of that is going to jump up because they're going to be celebrating who Bill Cosby was, not with the allegations and not with the court hearings or whatever. Because to me, they did that on purpose to destroy that man's name. Whether he was buying NBC, CBS, Nabisco, it don't matter to me. All I seen was a black man have his name and his image tarnished. You know what I'm saying? In the public tabloids, joked about by other black people, you know what I'm saying, for the world to laugh at. It was people who was getting the laugh, it was getting the laugh. You know what I'm saying? Who was really getting the laugh is white folks. And we was just jumping on. But I guarantee you today, if Bill Cosby passed away today and they decided to do biopics or whatever, you know what I mean? So why didn't they do Elvis like this? Elvis literally was with a 14-year-old girl. Just being honest. You see, they didn't dive into, I don't know, because I haven't watched Bohemian Rhapsody. You know what I'm saying? But they going to, I believe they probably did dive into, his drug habit, his, you could call reckless sexual exploits. You know what I'm saying? To lead to his death. They ain't gonna do that because they're not going to continuously bring that up over and over again when Queen is hitting the pop charts. Hey, yeah, let's bring up Freddie Mercury being a homosexual and sleeping with men. They're not going to bring that up ever. So why do they do that? Well, I'm talking about not in the movie. I'm talking about after the movie is shown. Well, what I'm saying is after the movie is shown, you don't see Netflix doing a documentary on Freddie Mercury that's in a damaging light. You don't see MTV coming out with a Freddie Mercury documentary. You don't see individual people coming out and saying this is the real Freddie Mercury. I'm talking about afterwards. That's like constantly going over and over again. Did they? I could be wrong. I know they didn't do it with Elvis. I know they didn't do it. I'm talking about constantly over and over again, people capitalizing on the success of that. If you get what I'm saying. Like Michael Jackson comes out, next thing you know, how many documentary series have they done on just Michael Jackson's allegations. Just I'm talking about from the from YouTube all the way up until now, where you're just seeing that constantly in the zeitgeist. Because I would tell you this, Tina, when that Elvis movie came out, which I didn't watch, I wasn't interested. Elvis is a thief, and he never gave the black artists their just due. Sorry, in my personal opinion. But what I did not see is mainstream media continuously you know what I'm saying, create articles and all of that, you know what I'm saying, on Elvis 24/7 that was damaging to his legacy. That's the way that I look at it, personally. I could be wrong.
In death,
that's just the way I
much
look
of
at
the
it in my
hostility
eyes.
and ridicule that had defined the final years of his life softened into fascination, sympathy, and nostalgia.
Yes, it is.
In many
Good
ways,
morning.
Searching for Neverland feels like a direct reaction against the tone of Man in the Mirror, where the 2004 VH1 biopic leaned heavily into tabloid spectacle, caricature, and public scandal. Searching for Neverland attempts to move inward. Rather than focusing primarily on Michael Jackson as a bizarre media figure, the film tries to portray him as a vulnerable and deeply lonely human being struggling to navigate the collapse of his career, finances, privacy, and emotional stability in the years following the 2005 trial. Ironically, this biopic once again picks up almost exactly where the last one left off. It focuses specifically on the period after Jackson's acquittal, when he largely retreated from public life and lived an increasingly transient and isolated existence away from his Neverland estate. That setting is important because Michael Jackson's final years became one of the most mythologized and speculated about periods of his life. After the trial, Michael virtually disappeared from the public eye for extended periods, moving between Bahrain, Ireland, Las Vegas, and rented mansions in Los Angeles, while rumors about his finances, addictions, health, children, and mental state continuously circulated through the media. After his 2009 death, there suddenly was an enormous public fascination surrounding what Michael Jackson's final years were actually like behind closed doors. Searching for Neverland was clearly attempting to answer that question by presenting a more intimate portrait of Michael not as a performer, but as a father, employer, friend, and emotionally exhausted man trying to survive the aftermath of global humiliation.
I'm not even gonna hold you. My man looked like Sonny Ono, or is that John Lennon's wife? Yeah, Michael was adding hot sauce to the popcorn. Is it Sonny Ono? Oh, what was it? Man, it's the face. It's
The film was based on the book Remember the Time, Protecting Michael Jackson in His Final Days, written by Jackson's former bodyguards, Bill Whitfield and Javon Beard.
Yoko Ono.
That source material immediately gave the project a sense of authenticity that Man in the Mirror argued.
Am I tripping? Yoko Ono. Yeah. Am I tripping? But doesn't... I'm sorry. Hey, man, that don't look like Yoko Ono. Just put some aviators on them. I'm trying to tell you. especially this cut right here. I'm sorry.
Arguably lacked. Rather than being constructed primarily around tabloid headlines and media speculation, the film was rooted in first-hand accounts from people who had physically lived alongside Jackson during his final years. Even though the Jackson family did not officially approve or cooperate with the production, the involvement of individuals from Michael's real inner circle gave the project a degree of credibility and emotional grounding. Casting also played a major role in how the film was received. Rather than hiring a conventional actor, attempting a broad impersonation, the production cast Navi, a Michael Jackson impersonator who had actually known Michael personally and had even performed for him.
Oh, we had broken him down on the reaction video to all the Michael Jackson impersonators. But it still looks like Yoko Ono.
That decision gave the portrayal a noticeably different tone from Flex Alexander's performance in Man in the Mirror. While Navi obviously still could not fully replicate Michael Jackson, his understanding of Jackson's voice, body language, mannerisms, and emotional fragility often made the performance feel more restrained and human. The film consciously avoids turning Michael into a parody. Instead, it portrays him as soft-spoken, anxious, childlike, emotionally dependent, and deeply fearful of betrayal and exposure.
That's actually that's really. Which one is this? Searching for Neverland. I might have to watch that. But that's honestly a lot of what he was saying, especially the phone calls and stuff like that I've heard about Michael. Man, he was not trying to fool with nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because he was really scared.
That said, the film still received mixed reviews. Critics generally acknowledged that Searching for Neverland was more sympathetic and less exploitative than previous portrayals. But many also argued that it lacked dramatic tension and often presented Michael through an overly sanitized lens.
Why do they?
Some reviewers
they want Michael to just be a weirdo. They want him to be crazy or whatever. You can't just make the man human. This is why I said when it comes to black people, they never want to see us human. The media does not want to see us as human beings, dude. And this is a prime example again of the mainstream media not wanting to see black people as humans. Sorry. They've done this so many times in your local media. Anytime your local media talks about black men who get into altercations or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Well, or, you know, whatever it is, they're never treated as human beings. They're treated as criminals. You know, your white counterpart does the same thing and he's treated like an actual human being. That's the problem I have with the mainstream media.
Felt the film bordered on hagiography, portraying Jackson almost entirely as a misunderstood victim, while avoiding deeper interrogation of the controversies and contradictions that surrounded him.
See, again, the guy got 14 counts, not guilty. But also, when you want to see the humanistic side of, we want to see him being weird, and we want to see him with children. Why didn't Flex's portrayal get more likes on Rotten Tomato then? If you want to see a caricature, go watch Flex's version. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not Flex. Flex was doing the job. You know what I'm saying? This is what he had to work with. But they wanted to portray this man as the worst person on the face of the planet. And they do not. When I tell you, they do not do their white counterparts like that. Even when I'm watching IDTV and somebody does the worst crimes on the face of the planet, they made Jeffrey, think about it like this, people. They made Jeffrey Dahmer human. Think about that. Remember the Netflix, was it Netflix that was showing that, or was it Amazon? One of them on the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, they made him look, they tried to humanize him. Man going around eating people, eating black people, eating gay people. This man was going around chewing on folks. They had no problem making him human, though. That's all I'm saying.
Others criticized the low-budget television aesthetic and the limitations of the performances, though many still considered it a far more respectful and emotionally believable portrayal than Man in the Mirror. What makes Searching for Neverland fascinating culturally is that it reflects the wider rehabilitation of Michael Jackson's image that took place in the years following his death. By 2017, the dominant public conversation surrounding Michael was no longer centered entirely on scandal and ridicule, but increasingly on tragedy, exploitation, loneliness, and the psychological cost of lifelong fame.
And if you really think about it like this, and it didn't click until the other day. I was, you know, when when I was thinking about doing this reaction video, I legitimately had to think about Michael in this type of way. And I really want you to put this into perspective. Michael grew up a child star when he was 8 years old. I'm talking about major, or he was 10. 9, 10 years old. Michael Jackson was a major star, right? Was a major star. He also grew up with a mother that was a Jehovah's Witness. So when he's talking about he didn't really get to see his childhood, I was talking about I was saying, major star. You understand? But yes, he was doing this thing, but major star. You know what I'm saying? By the time he was 10, everybody knew who Michael Jackson was. In the Jackson 5. So he was a major star. His mother was a Jehovah's Witness. And I don't know if anybody's a practicing Jehovah's Witness. I'm never going to diss anyone's religion because everyone has a right to, to practice whatever religion that you want. But one thing I do know about the Jehovah's Witness, it is a inner circle type of thing. You see what I mean? You can't interact with certain people that's not of the faith. You know what I'm saying? They're not other Jehovah's Witnesses. So isolation, you know what I'm saying? Isolation is key when it comes to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And his mother was a Jehovah's Witness. Do you think he was going outside playing with people? No. You know what I'm saying? Even his own, even Joe was like, I'm leery about all these kids around here. Nope. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there was a lot. And by the time the man, even hit preteens, dude had a full-time job. A full-time job. You got to go sing, dance. They was talking about doing Vegas. Then you go into his later years. He's still working hard, doing reality shows. Brother got a cartoon. He got all of this. And then he's still touring. This was his life. So when you start talking about loneliness and different things like that, why are we sympathetic to child stars when they're, I don't know, the young lady from the Facts of Life? I mean, Different Strokes. That's what I meant. Can't think of her name off tops. But we're very sympathetic to her story. You know what I'm saying? But we never look at, what Gary Coleman and whatchamacallit, what's his name? What they went through. Yeah, Dana Plato. The tragedy from I think it's something Krittner that played Lois Lane in Superman 1978. Her tragic end, live in Hollywood. Now she wasn't a child star, but Todd Bridges. I don't know why couldn't I think of Todd Bridges. That they never, Margaret Kidder. Tragic ending. They'll make her sympathetic. They'll never be like, well, you was just a drug addict. He was going to die anyway. They didn't say that about Dana Plato. They said Dana Plato needed help. You see what I mean? There's a lot of tragic stories. River Phoenix has a tragic child to adult Hollywood story. They're never going to make fun or joke about that. But Michael literally almost burnt up in front of 100 and some odd people in a commercial. Almost, literally, and it's true. He could have died because what if his whole entire face caught on fire? All of that. He would have burnt up in front of everybody. Right? And with all that nerve damage, they made an emphasis that you're going to be in pain probably for the rest of your life. And they just brushed it off. And he was on drugs. Like the man smoking crack. Like he was on heroin. They wouldn't do Dana Plato like that. They wouldn't do Corey Haim. Corey Haim's another example. The kid from they've been trying to get him help from oh my goodness, I can't. He played a little nerd in the Nickelodeon show, and now he looks like, I mean, it's sad. It's sad. They would never make fun of him. They've been trying to get him help. That's what I'm saying. Aaron Carter's another one. Aaron Carter came out and said, my mama tried to make up a story so we could get some money off of Michael Jackson by lying about him touching him, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't fold. People don't look at a rich man being taken advantage of in that way because it's Michael Jackson. He's crazy. He's wacko jacko, so he'd do it. But they never talk about his philanthropy or all of that. That's why I'm glad people are celebrating him now and saying F what Netflix is talking about, F what all these people are talking about. We're going to celebrate Michael Jackson now because it's a prime example of what the mainstream media does, especially when it comes to black people. They do this all the time. I went through it, watched it firsthand when I was covering the Jonathan Majors trial. Witnessed it firsthand. When I talked to his lawyer, you know, we were talking about the media coverage and stuff like that. It was absolutely atrocious for a man nobody knew nothing about. They just start making up stuff so they can side with the victim. Never once be like, well, I mean, not all the mainstream media, because shout out to the Business Insider, but they never said, well, you know, do you know the girl was a drunk? She had an alcohol problem. They never brought that up when you're trying to destroy Jonathan Majors. They never brought that up, even though it was clearly brought up in court. But that's not the narrative that they wanted to push. And that's why journalism is dead, because the narrative they wanted to push is not what these documentaries was going to give them. You see what I mean? Oh, wow. Prayers up for Peabo Bryson. Yeah, John Belushi, RDJ, they sympathize with these guys. They sympathize. They never dig into their history and try to figure out how horrible they were or whatever. They're not going to do that, try to make them look horrible.
The film fits squarely within that shift. It attempts to humanize Michael Jackson, not by mythologizing his superstardom, as An American Dream did, nor by sensationalizing his collapse, as Man in the Mirror often did, but by presenting him as a vulnerable and emotionally damaged man searching for peace during the final chapter of his life.
I might have to watch that.
In many ways, that is why the film exists at all. It was produced during a period when audiences had become increasingly interested in understanding Michael Jackson privately rather than publicly. The spectacle of Michael Jackson had already been endlessly documented. What remained mysterious and commercially compelling was the man hiding behind the image constructed for him. Michael, released in 2026, represents the most ambitious and commercially...
Before we get to Michael, I got to take another commercial break. Please don't go nowhere. Please do not go nowhere. I got to take a commercial break, but I'll be right back. I got to give me another commercial. I do got to give me some more commercials. All right, I'll be right back. Do not go nowhere. I'll be right back with more of the Dre Mack Show. Stay right here.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Are you going down? Then you gotta know the best way to go. On the down low.
Damn, you banking like that, and you come over here with a biscuit meal, man?
Would you like to take a survey?
No. Elevator go down the hall.
It's you! It's you!
Whoop-de-doo.
We are talking about the same girl.
Okay, well, what do we do? Fight a duel or something?
Well, I don't know. Maybe,
now the conclusion of
Like this?
Slower. Bend over.
Stedman, what's going on?
Darling, are you all right?
Stedman, who was that woman?
That was Professor Haight, disguised as an ugly French lap dancer.
Ugly? She looked beautiful.
I suppose she might have been considered beautiful until you walked in the room.
Oh, Stedman, I've been dreaming of this moment. Come here.
Wild horses couldn't keep me away. Invisible robots!
Invisible robots?
Beep, 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 beep. Look out!
Man, he's your man. Not just no Bruce boyfriend. If you cross him, you're a dead man. You heard what I said, man.
I heard he was gay. No way, sister.
Who's that man? He's dead man.
We now return to the Transformers.
All right. Let's get in. Let's finish this up. Now, what are your thoughts? I need y'all to put it in the comment section. What are y'all thoughts about Michael? Put it in the comment section before and let me know what are your thoughts on Michael. All right, let's keep going. This is the last one.
Significant attempt yet to dramatize the life of Michael Jackson. Unlike previous attempts, this time the pop icon's story was finally given the scale needed to match the enormity of his life, transforming it, for the first time, into a truly cinematic experience. Directed by Antoine Fuqua and produced by Graham King, the Academy Award-winning producer behind Bohemian Rhapsody, the film was developed with the full cooperation of the estate of Michael Jackson, and with the approval and involvement of several Jackson family members. As a result, the production was granted access to the immense emotional and cultural power of Michael Jackson's full music catalog,
I do want
with the film setting out to extensively use his original recordings while recreating many of his most iconic performances on a scale never before attempted in a Jackson biopic.
And I will say this, we have to remember from the beginning of the Jacksons all the way up until the Victory Tour, going in the back, he was living at Havenhurst. And when it was like, oh, there's no controversies and there's no none, man, the man was still living at home. He was still living at home. You know what I'm saying? With his mama and Joe, until he kicked Joe out and redid Havenhurst to look like Disney World. So we got to keep that in mind. He was still living at home. So when people start talking crazy about there's no controversy, and the only thing that I wanted to see was more of him putting in work as the Jacksons before we get to 1978. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I want Diana Ross in the movie, yes, and certain things, but I needed that up. You know what I'm saying? I needed that to paint that picture, like the scene, and I love the scene, and I also not hate it, but disappointed in the scene. The scene, spoiler warning, they're singing. The Jackson 5 is singing at the carnival, and it doesn't look like nobody is paying attention. It's like a crowd of people there. Like the Jackson was so big. They would have destroyed that. That fair wouldn't have been fair. Trust and believe that. They would have tore that thing down just to get at the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? And they should have had just sections of them working. You know what I'm saying? Doing reality show, doing the skit show, the variety shows, and all of that. It doesn't have to be long, just a montage until you get to 1978 so you can see the growth of Michael. You know what I'm saying? From this little child star to all the work he had to do. You know what I'm saying? You got the rights with Michael and Marlon. You could have had a scene, You know what I'm saying? Michael and Marlon doing skits together. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like they didn't do it. They kind of put the fast forward button. You know what I'm saying? From 1969 to 78. There's a lot missing. Yeah, and even then, even though Randy's not there, they missed the whole Jackson's part. They missed the other solo albums of Michael's career. That wasn't just the first solo album. So they kindly just brushed past all of that. You know what I'm saying? And never mentioned, yeah, we had some solo projects before that was done, but this is my first solo project as an adult, not a part of a kid's band. So
that alone immediately separated it from productions such as Man in the Mirror and Searching for Neverland, both of which struggled without the instant gravitas Michael's
they didn't
music
show them,
carries
they
within
just
the
mentioned
public
them.
imagination. In many ways, Michael was conceived as the definitive cinematic statement on Michael Jackson's life. The Jackson equivalent of blockbuster hits like Elvis, Rocket Man, and Bohemian Rhapsody. By the late 2010s and early 2020s, music biopics had become one of Hollywood's most commercially reliable genres, capable of generating enormous box office success, while simultaneously reigniting streaming numbers, catalog sales, and public fascination surrounding legacy artists.
I do want to see the body roll.
Clearly understood that no artist arguably possessed greater untapped cinematic potential than Michael Jackson. His life already contained all the elements of a Hollywood epic: childhood stardom, family pressure, racial barrier breaking, unprecedented fame, creative genius, loneliness, scandal, and tragedy. But the timing of the project was also deeply significant. The film was officially announced only months after the release of Leaving Neverland, the explosive HBO documentary that reignited allegations of child sexual abuse against Michael Jackson and dramatically shifted public conversation surrounding his legacy.
Because, again, these people keep coming up. Nobody's doing that with nobody else. Again, it's because Michael Jackson long gone. These people are clearly lying, clearly shifting in there. And remember, the mainstream media loved it. Oh, we got like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes with the critics, because that's what they came to see. They came to see the downfall of Michael Jackson. That's why the critics wasn't rolling with Michael, because they like, allegations. Even though when you start putting stuff together, you like, this dude is clearly, both of these dudes are clearly lying. Clearly lying. It don't matter. We just want to make Michael Jackson look horrible again. He's getting too much fame. He's getting too big. I'm trying to tell you, you might look at Michael Jackson and be like, I don't like when he bleached his skin, vitiligo, and all of that. They were trying to, even in death, they trying to put Michael back in his place as a black man. And that's the sad part, is that the mainstream media was like, nigga, get back in your place. That's basically the equivalent of what they're doing with these biopics, Leaving Neverland, Seeing Neverland. I lied on, you know what I'm saying, why I was in Neverland. All of this crap. All of it is crap. So when you do have a movie, you know what I'm saying, that celebrates his life, but you can't stop. You can't stop what God creates. No matter how much that's why the Bible said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And Michael is showing you right now that no matter what the mainstream media does, it's not going to work. It's not. Because that's one of God's anointed people. You know what I'm saying? God's an anointed dude. You know what I'm saying? He knew God. He can't tell me he didn't. So you can say what you want. You're never gonna touch what he's already created. And now that he's back home, never gonna touch that.
Prior to Leaving Neverland, much of the public scrutiny surrounding the allegations had softened in the years following Michael's death. public memory had increasingly centered on his artistry, his music, and the tragedy of his life, rather than the controversies that had consumed his final years. Leaving Neverland fundamentally disrupted that rehabilitation by forcing the allegations back into mainstream discussion in a way not seen since the 1990s and early 2000s. In that context, Michael immediately became controversial long before cameras even rolled. Critics questioned whether a fully estate-approved Michael Jackson biopic could ever truly be objective, arguing that the film risked becoming little more than a sanitized piece of legacy management designed to rehabilitate Jackson's image in the wake of renewed scrutiny.
And again, honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not mad at it. If they could come out with something that is totally false, everybody talking about it though, even though it's false, then I don't care what they do with Michael. They could have made Michael walk on water, kind of like how they was trying, or make him like whatever that they want to angelic, like they want to do it, because you already see how they do on the other side, lying on him. I make him be the first person that woke up one day and said the Bloods and Crips got to cut it out. I'm gonna call a meeting. Do it. They've been lying on this man for years, and now the narrative is switching because the family decide that they're not going to slander their family member, and this is what they decided to do. Do it. I love it, and I'm going to keep supporting that.
The estate and filmmakers strongly pushed back against that perception. Early statements surrounding the production repeatedly emphasized that the film would not simply be a puff piece, but rather an honest portrayal of Michael Jackson's life, contradictions, and struggles. There were suggestions early in development that the film intended to address the allegations and the broader controversies surrounding Jackson directly as part of presenting the whole story. However, those ambitions reportedly became heavily restricted by legal realities surrounding the estate and the allegations themselves. As the production evolved, it became increasingly clear that the film would avoid fully dramatizing or deeply interrogating the accusations against Jackson in any substantive way.
Facts.
One of the clearest signs of family support for the project was the casting of Jafar Jackson, Jermaine Jackson's son, and Michael Jackson's real-life nephew, in the lead role itself. That decision became one of the film's strongest selling points, and perhaps its greatest source of emotional authenticity.
And I will say, because I was listening to this the other day. This is the unreleased track Jafar has. Because I ended up downloading this. The Universal Love. When I tell you, whoo, you talking about who gave you the feels of Michael, and not even trying. I don't think he's trying to be like his uncle. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was a great inspiration, his voice, the 3-part harmony he did on Universal Love, I'm like, bro, we need more of this. He don't even want to do music. He wants to be an actor now. He done got the acting bug. But man, I was saying this, and I'm going to say it to y'all. I wish Jafar would go into music. So, and this is just me, so he could be this generation's Jackson. Hear what I'm saying? All the little kids, the 3-year-old, 5-year-olds and stuff like that like to listen to music. I would love for Jafar to be his own Jackson, but be their Jackson. We have Michael, you know what I'm saying? And before, me, they had the Jackson 5s, they had the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? It'd be dope. They had Janet. It would have been dope if Jafar would be their Jackson, because that Universal Love is fire. Ooh, excuse me, a fire track. But I wish. Anyway.
The eyes of many viewers. Unlike previous portrayals that relied on impersonation or prosthetics alone,
Facts, Eric
Michael
D.
could market itself around the idea that someone biologically connected to Michael Jackson was now attempting to embody him on screen. The physical similarities, vocal tone, movement, and family resemblance immediately became a major talking point online. In a story so heavily shaped by disputes over ownership, exploitation, and public interpretation, Jafar's casting almost acted as a seal of legitimacy, a visual signal that the family themselves were standing behind this version of Michael's story.
Oh, she looked like Catherine.
While several Jackson family members participated in or supported the production, others reportedly distanced themselves from it. Randy and Janet Jackson were unsupportive and refused to have their likeness portrayed on screen. While Paris Jackson, Michael's daughter, publicly expressed discomfort in previous years regarding how the estate managed aspects of Michael Jackson's image and legacy.
And I think she just sued the estate and won too. And when they mean by the estate, they mean the lawyers. She's not, suing her grandma because that'd be wild. But she sued the lawyers. There was, with the estate saying they're not the money and stuff like that is not it's not being reported correctly and stuff like that. So yeah, she sued the estate, not her grandma. We talking about the lawyers.
Paris never outright positioned herself against the film. There was a lingering sense surrounding her comments and public attitude that no Hollywood production, no matter how well-intentioned, could ever fully capture the reality of who Michael Jackson actually was as a father or as a human being. This reinforcing the larger tension sitting beneath the film itself. Who actually controls the story of Michael Jackson? The family, the estate, the media,
John McClane,
or the audience themselves? Structurally, the film ultimately resembles The Jacksons, an American dream far more than the marketing initially suggested. Although framed as an intimate portrait of Michael Jackson himself, much of the emotional core of the film revolves around family dynamics, particularly Michael's struggle to separate himself creatively and psychologically from the Jackson family machine.
This movie should have been called Leaving Joe Jackson. Instead of Leaving Neverland, Leaving Joe Jackson.
As he attempts to emerge as a solo artist. The relationship with Joseph Jackson once again becomes central, with the film largely continuing the familiar portrayal of Joseph as the domineering patriarch whose abuse and pressure shaped Michael's trauma and perfectionism. Yet critics argued that, much like an American dream, the film simplifies many of the deeper dysfunctions and contradictions within the family itself. The broader emotional complexity of the Jackson family, sibling rivalries, enabling, financial dependency, emotional manipulation, resentment toward Michael's fame, and the family's increasingly fractured internal relationships remain unexplored. Instead, the narrative often falls back into a clearer hero versus patriarch dynamic that is easier for mainstream audiences to emotionally process. A criticism that followed the film throughout its release is that Michael was ultimately designed more for fans than for the truth itself. Critics argued that the film often presented a version of Michael Jackson that audiences wanted to believe in, the tortured genius, misunderstood artist, and self-sacrificing family man.
I mean, the man was living at home. What else did y'all want? What no, they had animals and stuff running around there. What no kids around having hurts like that? You know what I mean? For y'all to be making up a narrative? Like, what are you talking about? He was legitimately under his family during that time. So what other controversies of Michael Jackson could you say besides why do now could have explored why he didn't feel a little more like he didn't feel like he was he was attractive or the pimples and stuff like that? Could they have explored that more? Yes. But American Dream already did that. So I don't know what you want. What? Yeah, me had bubbles up in this mug, man. Bubbles. What more do you want from me? Is what he's asking.
While smoothing over many of the darker contradictions and unresolved controversies surrounding his life. And yet, despite those criticisms, the response from audiences was overwhelming.
Facts.
While critical reviews were mixed to negative, many accusing the film of whitewashing or simplifying aspects of Michael Jackson's life. Fans embraced it passionately. Audiences turned out globally in enormous numbers, not simply to watch a movie, but to participate in something larger, a shared cultural event centered around Michael Jackson's music, image, and legacy. The film became...
Now, mind you, shout out to us. I want to do that first. Shout out to us. But you see what everybody's collectively doing? That's all I'm saying. Everybody's doing the same thing. No matter if you're in America or you're overseas, we're all doing the same thing. That tells you the impact of Michael Jackson. You might not like it. You might think it's sanitized, but you already had your versions destroying them. Go watch those. You said they're going to play the movie at a huge. Yes, I did see that. Yes, I did see that. And then I think Japan is a couple weeks away. And what I tell you, Japan loves Michael. They love Michael Jackson there. Love him.
Became more than a biopic. It became a moment in an era where media consumption is increasingly fragmented and isolated through streaming algorithms and short-form content. Michael achieved something genuinely rare. It brought multiple generations together into physical spaces around the world through a shared emotional connection to music and memory. While social media became flooded with recreations, dance trends, and renewed fascination surrounding Michael Jackson's artistry.
Yes, they did.
Older audiences who had lived through Michael Jackson's fame sat alongside younger viewers who had only discovered him recently through viral TikTok clips, YouTube compilations, and trending playlists.
Changed my whole algorithm. Michael
Jackson,
thanks.
The result was almost impossible to ignore. Whatever criticisms existed surrounding the film's handling of controversy, the project succeeded in exactly what it set out to do, reigniting Michael Jackson as a living cultural force for a new generation. In the week following the film's release, Michael Jackson experienced some of the highest streaming figures of his career. And in doing so, the estate achieved yet another groundbreaking feat for their artist, simultaneously holding the world's #1 movie and the world's #1 stream song at the same time. It became
Drake
obvious
can't do
the
that.
movie was going to achieve
Drake can't do it.
upwards of $1 billion at the box office, thus igniting immediate plans for a sequel. More than 16 years after his death, Michael demonstrated that few artists in modern history still possess the ability to create a truly global cultural moment, one capable of uniting audiences through nostalgia, spectacle, music, and collective memory all at once. That broader strategy is important. Unlike earlier biopics, Michael was not simply a television drama attempting to retell a life story. It was a modern multimedia legacy project designed for the streaming era. One built not only to tell Michael Jackson's story, but to actively reinsert him into contemporary popular culture once again. The detail is dedicated to uncovering...
Told you, I love the detail. I love the detail. And this is something that I thought about too. And I'm getting ready to let y'all go. But I thought about this too. And I think I'm off camera on the mobile side. Well, I thought about this, and I think this is important when you're looking at someone like Michael Jackson, right? Excuse me. Michael Jackson has done something that no other biopic has ever done. And that should be a testament to Michael. Again, everybody wants to slander Michael, but when they do the opposite and they make it where all this feels sanitized and this and the other, thank you, appreciate it. But this feels sanitized and this feels like this and this feels like that and yada yada yada, then it's a problem. But then when you go back and actually understand his life before Bad, right. When you're getting out of the Victory Tour and you start looking, I'm like, yeah, they missed a couple things, but Man was living at home. What controversy? You want him to talk about his brother? You think Jermaine was going to jump on this project and then Jermaine was going to have some beef with his brother that was going to be explored at that period of time? No. You know, I mean, again, Michael has done something because culturally, Michael is one of the rare people that culturally, even his music doesn't fit into a box. That's why, the King of Pop is fitting for him. And let me explain this real quick before I let you guys get up out of here. I don't care what Michael Jackson did to his nose. I don't. I really don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. That's that man's nose. He can do whatever he wants to with it. But each album did not feel like like Thriller or Off the Wall. Each album evolved, and it wasn't content on being in just a box. Like when you listen to, especially with black people, with black artists, a lot of people want to put black artists in a box, right? R&B, just strictly R&B. You can't do anything else. It has to be straight R&B, right? You can't, and if you do something different, country, bluegrass, techno, electronica, whatever, you're labeled as weird because they want to fit you in this box, right? Just this box. So they're like, oh, look, he's singing black music, right? And hopefully let that black music get popular so we can steal it. No, Michael did not fit into that box. And he had music that connected people. No matter where you from, you listen to a Michael Jackson song, just a song, and it connected people. You listen to a track like Man in the Mirror. Again, who has a song like that? That's an artist. Because everybody's talking about their image, or they're more conscious about what social media thinks or whatever. The guy was just making music. All the music he said that was in his head, he created that. So then when you look at the broader spectrum, a person in Japan can listen to this music and feel it just like I am in Kansas City. And a person in LA can listen to that same song, and a person over in Russia, you know what I'm saying? Or Croatia, or the Philippines, they can feel the same thing. Because the music is pure. It's good music. It's a pure sound of music. And it doesn't define just a genre. Hell, his music wasn't even pop. It was everything. It was everything. Listen to Childhood and tell me that doesn't sound like someone singing that at the climax of a Disney song or a Disney movie. To where you go, keep it in the closet, and you over here, you can't stop dancing. Till She's Out of My Life, you know what I'm saying? There's a ballad. To PYT. That started off more of a traditional, R&B groove. It gave it a popper sound. Dude, there's no other artist that was doing that. There's no other artist that's doing that now because they're in the box. And that's what makes Michael different, because he wasn't defined in the box. Even if you go back and listen to Dangerous, you can say it was New Jack, but listen to Dangerous very carefully. There's so many different genres of music on there. You can't even just define it as that. You just define it as some of the best music, you know what I'm saying, one could ever make.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
I got to wrap it up because I've been going way over 2 hours up here. And then I will see y'all tonight for Blurred AF. I got to go and put my clothes up because I washed my clothes and it was just sitting there. in a basket, need to be putting up. And I can hear my grandma, my auntie telling me now, boy, if you don't get them clothes and fold them and put them in them drawers. So that's what I was doing before I got in here. Now I gotta go finish because I gotta go clean my room. I'm a grown man. I gotta clean my room. But I thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Dre Mack Show. What did you think about today's topic, today's reaction video? Put it in the comment section below and let me know what you think. But again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe power, man. I will see y'all back tonight. Where is my outro at? Look, you already know where it at. I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.